Bonaventure is mourning the passing of beloved university president, Dr. Dennis DePerro. He died overnight at a Syracuse hospital following a weeks-long battle with COVID-19. A staunch advocate of St. Bonaventure athletics, Dr. DePerro will be sorely missed. Atlantic 10 Commissioner Bernadette McGlade released the following statement, quote, "On behalf of the Atlantic 10 Conference, we all are heartbroken. We have lost an amazing leader, family man, and friend, but are inspired by his life," unquote. And on behalf of ESPN, our sympathies go to the entire St. Bonaventure community.
Not only did we lose our president, we lost a great man. I'm heartbroken for Sherry and the boys. He was a great man and a great leader, and he did amazing things here in his short stay. He was a guy, a blue collar guy, smart, but didn't make anybody feel uncomfortable. He was a guy you could drink a beer with. He was just a guy that, he was a friend. He was a guy that I could walk into his office at any time and sit down and talk to him. He really supported athletics, and in particular men's basketball. And it's a shame. It's a shame. We lost like I said, a great guy. And he's gonna be hard to replace. The community it's sad. It was a hard day today. It was a hard day when we found out about his passing. And you think about his family and what they're going through, and then this great university. He was, even though he was like me, Jesuit educated, he quickly became a Bonnie, and he was a terrific man. And like I said, it breaks my heart.
JP, over to you.
Yeah, coach doesn't seem like, the greatest time right now. Just as far as the game, you mentioned being sluggish. Obviously, that was your fourth game in 9 days. But aside from that, do you think maybe even just sort of the emotions from last week with the two Davidson games, clinching?
You don't want to make any excuses. We're not in this business to make excuses. Our job is to go out there and try to play as well as we can. And like I said, I thought we played really hard. We just didn't do a good job executing, making shots. And like I said, we were sluggish. It seemed like we were heavy-legged. So 4 games in 9 days it's a lot to ask. But at the same time, give Dayton credit. They played well enough to beat us.
And then just as a quick follow-up, if I can, just offensively, you mentioned you get down, kind of in the second half, and that's not a spot that you guys really ordinarily find yourselves in. You feel like you got away from some things offensively that you normally do that's gotten you to this point, maybe trying to go a little one-on-one too much? Or
I don't know. I'd have to watch the tape, but, we've been down before and we've come back. And we were down 12 and, like I said, we had a shot at the end to tie the game.
Right.
So I just thought that, they did a good job keeping us out of the paint. And, and I think, maybe at times, we took quick shots, but it was hard to get into the paint and drive and kick. And, they beat us in the paint 24-20, which is, usually the other way around.
Yep.
But we couldn't make any shots. We had some open looks, and as you know, in basketball, you make a couple, then the rim looks a little bit bigger. You start missing, the rim, shrinks a little bit. And just we were sluggish and it seemed like we were tired.
All right. Thank you.
Rachel, go ahead.
Hang on. Mark, a little bit more about Dr. DePerro's passing. You touched on this a little bit. First of all, what kind of relationship did he have with the basketball program, with the athletic department?
He knew how important athletics is to this university. He understood how important basketball is to this university, and he was as supportive as any person on this campus. It starts from the top, and when the top guy believes in athletics and its mission and believes in basketball and the importance of it, then you're in a good spot. And he knew that and understood that, and was extremely important, extremely supportive. Like I said, he had an open door policy. I could walk in there anytime and sit down and talk to him. He was a friend. He was a boss, but he was a friend. And, like I said, we lost a great man, and he's going to be hard to replace.
What was your team's kind of reaction and response? I noticed a lot of the memorials around the arena, the cutout, the jerseys. Whose idea was that?
That was the administration.
Okay.
We wanted, this game was this season now is in tribute to Dr. DePerro and all the things that he's done for us, Bonaventure and for this community. He was one of us. He got it. There's a lot of people that don't get it, but he got it. He understood what this place is all about. And he was very personable and down to earth. And, he had a doctorate degree, but he didn't act like he had a doctorate degree. He was just one of us. And like I said, he was a special guy and someone we'll dearly miss.
Thank you.
Chucky, go ahead.
Coach, even though shots weren't falling offensively, you still had 2 chances at overtime. What did you think of those possessions?
I thought we had a great look. With Jaron with Jalen, I thought that was, we run those special plays. I thought, in terms of getting an open look, I thought we get the look that we wanted. They knew we needed to hit a 3, so it's always hard to get, really open looks. But I thought that was a really good look. And he made a good stroke on it. He just missed it.
Also, how do you balance over the next few days with travel, getting your players the rest they need, but also being prepared for Friday?
Yeah, just, take tomorrow off and just be smart and walk through some stuff. We don't know who we're going to play on Friday until, Thursday afternoon. So working some of our stuff and, we got to get our legs back. So that's the most important thing, rest. And, we'll work on some stuff, but, it's the end of the year. We've been practicing, since whatever it's been, October 1st or September 26th or whatever it was, so it's really now it's getting our guys the needed rest that they need. And then we'll bounce back and, hopefully we can play well on Friday.
Matt, go ahead.
When Oshun went down with an ankle, it looked like, was there any glimpse at a worst case scenario there with, last game of a regular season? And was there any talk about him coming out, or did you expect anything less than him to grind that out?
Yeah, no, I didn't really think about it. He's going to fight through it. And that's, this time of year, that's, you have your bumps and bruises, but, that's, I wouldn't even, if you didn't ask me that question, I wouldn't even have thought about it. So, no.
Mike, go ahead.
Coach, back to Dennis for a second. He's been around for a lot of great Bona basketball moments the last couple of years, the tournament year and you becoming the winningest coach in program history. And then obviously last year at the 100th year celebration. I'm just curious as to if you have a favorite Dr. DePerro memory to maybe share with us.
I don't have a favorite one. I just, I've been in his company a number of times, and he was just a really good guy, and he was smart, but he was always calm, never overreacted to things. And, I know, back in 2016 when we lost to Florida in the second round, and, he came up to me afterwards and, gave me a hug, and, and he's just somebody that never overreacted, and just, as a boss, that's the type of guy you want, someone that's always going to be there with you, in good times and bad times, and really supportive. And like I said, I've had a number of conversations with him, we're really good. And he never acted like he was our boss. He was just a good guy who did a great job at this university, a great job. And I've been lucky, with Sister Margaret and Dennis. I've had 2 really good presidents that have made my job that much easier.
Rachel, back to you.
I'm sorry, my line was muted. Mark, as you prepare for the start of the A10 tournament, kind of when you don't know who your opponent is yet, because the season's been so erratic, not sure who to prepare for, what do you do? How do you focus on yourselves?
You focus on what you do well. We'll watch the tape and we'll focus on what we didn't do well today. And then we'll just take, a couple concepts from the two teams that we may play and work on those concepts. And they're different. I'm not sure if it's going to be Dayton and Duquesne. I'm not sure yet, but whoever we play, those are the two teams that we'll look at concepts, and we'll have drills to cover those different concepts. And then on Thursday when we get down there, we'll know who we're playing, and then we'll walk through in the ballroom and how we're going to guard them and so forth. And it's a little bit easier because whoever we play, other than I guess UMass, we've already played, so the scout is not going to be that different. But I think right now the most important thing is for us to get some rest.
To reiterate what Mark just said, we lost a great man. But I keep telling people this more. He was our boss, but he was he was a friend. And it's very rare in this day and age you have that. And I'll never forget the first time we met was on the interview. And when he was up here interviewing, he met with us as senior management. And we were done, and I sat with him for about 20 minutes after. He had a break, and we just sat there and talked. I walked into my colleagues and said, there's not another question. There's no question who should be the president of this place. And it was Dennis, because he exuded what this place was about, and his kindness, his personality, that he knew the student athletes. You don't see that with a lot of presidents at times, that he knew them. And that's why I say we lost a great man today, and a dear friend.
Any questions for Tim? Chucky, let's go to you.
Coach mentioned how he always stayed calm during stressful situations, and obviously you in athletics have plenty of stressful situations. Was there a particular time when that really stood out to you?
There's a couple of times, but I think the most recent one probably was right before the fall semester started, and everyone was really uptight about starting with COVID and stuff. And I remember him gathering everybody and said, "Sit, relax. We've worked hard. We've got this in place. It doesn't mean it's not going to sneak in, but you all have done a phenomenal job." And he just kept an even keel about him with that when I speak to some of my other colleagues, their presidents didn't have that. They were acting too worried, and Dennis had a confidence. And I think that was one of them. There was a couple others that I would say when issues would arise. I won't say which ones, but there were issues, and he would always call me and say, "Timmy, me boy, what do you think? What do you think?" And we would sit and talk about it. And even if we disagreed, it didn't matter. We would work to a conclusion on it. And to me, that to him is the best, Chucky, that he kept such an even keel way he led. And the person you knew was the way he led. There was no ego involved with that.
Rachel, over to you.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining us. First off, I know you've had probably the job of informing the athlete, the athletic department, the athletes, the basketball players, that Dr. DePerro has died. Now, first off, what was the response from the basketball players, men's and women's, and from the athletes about this?
I think it was shock more than anything else. Everyone expected, and we all knew he'd been in the hospital for a period of time, but you all had the good hope that, you know what, he'll ease himself out of it. You've seen so many of the recovery stories. And then when they found out he passed away, there was shock in the sense of a lot of the student athletes I saw today they couldn't believe it. They're like, "Was it true? Was it really true?" And it was like, "Yes, it is." And the hard part was you couldn't get everyone together because of COVID. Normally, we probably would have gathered everybody here in the red seats, all the student athletes, just to talk to them because they knew him, Rach. And I think that was a big part where they didn't want to believe it because they knew him. He was always approachable. He was walking around campus talking to everybody. He knew the athletes. He would go up to him after games and say, "Great game," whether it was a soccer game. He would text or the golf coach. He kept on track. He understood athletics. And I think that couldn't be understated enough. He had 2 sons who played soccer at Providence. So he knew Division I athletics, never worked in it. And I'll never forget the first time we sat down and he said to me, "You got to teach me a little bit about Division I athletics." I said, "Well, it's not too much different than D2 except for the price tag. A couple more zeros on the end with that." And he always reminded me of that. He goes, "Price tags." Whenever we had some budget conversations, it's the price tag. But I think the kids, and we're going to keep an eye on them, some of them, because they were close with it. There was a number of them. So there was shock, I think, more than anything else, to answer your question in a roundabout way.
Now, also, why play this game? Was there any possibility that this game could be called off, for teams, for the athletes, for your staff to, mourn, or was this a kind of a testimony to his life to play this game?
I think the latter. We talked about it for a split second and said, should we play? And the first thought that came to mind was him. I could picture him sitting on my shoulder going, "What are you doing, you idiot? You got to play. You got to play. Don't stop because of me." And I do think that was the thought. Mark and I talked about it. Could we have canceled it? Possibly. But we thought it would be better to honor him right now. It was so new, and to honor him, I got to tell you what, the staff did a phenomenal job getting stuff together. The patches that were put on the jerseys were done like that, and we thought it was the best way to do it because I think that's the way he wanted it. He would have wanted it to be.